Have you ever imagined ditching the rules and the guest list and simply escaping to a hidden gem to exchange your vows? Just the two of you. Jenny Mack, founder of Eloping Is Fun, curates extraordinary once-in-a-lifetime adventures in New York City for couples from all over the world. But she's not interested in following tradition or making the experience like a mini wedding day. She challenges the norm and empowers people to have the best day of their lives. Jenny will teach you about the cultural shift away from traditional weddings, the kind of freedom that eloping gives engaged couples, and the joy of creating memorable individual experiences, like an elopement in a vegan donut shop. Jenny also shares some of her favourite secret locations in New York City for couples to tie the knot and has some great ideas for how to make your day cool and super fun. She's also passionate, forthright, and just a freaking pleasure to meet and chat with. I hope you love our conversation just as much as we love recording it. Let's get stuck into it. Unbridely is a community of pro-wedding vendors who believe in freedom and integrity in weddings, giving you options, solutions, tips and tricks to create the experience and memories that you and your fiancé really want and deserve. Because we believe that weddings are a team sport. With how-tos, stories and interviews with recently married couples, we find out what went right and what they'd change if they could go back and do it all over again. I'm Camille and welcome to the Unbridely podcast. Hi, Jenny. I want to say good morning from Australia, good evening to you in New York. I'm so stoked that you can come on and have a chat.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm a big fan of Australia. That you will learn to know. Yeah, that will be a topic. We'll get into that.
I'll explain to the listener, I saw your account, Eloping Is Fun, and I'm like, oh, hello. And then I read a few posts and things like that, and I love how you do what you do. So to catch the listener up, can you explain who you are, Jenny, and what you do so well?
Thank you. I would love to. Thank you. So I'm Jenny. I am a native New Yorker, third generation. I run a company called Eloping Is Fun. We do full service elopement packages. We do the photographer, officiant, and planning, basically everything you need for your elopement in New York City. So I've been in the wedding game for a few years, I think about like 15, 16 years or so. I've seen a lot, I've lived through a lot. Okay. Seen it all. My background was in photojournalism. So I, used to do a lot of editorial stuff and travel around when there was, magazines and when, newspapers would,
I love it. There was these things called newspapers and
before TikTok and Instagram.
Before the internet. It was great.
Exactly. So I came at weddings through photography. I am a photographer. I started shooting weddings in Brooklyn just when things were like heating up and getting kind of cool. You know what I mean? Like, there was a time not too long ago where, like wedding photography, there was not a lot of great options out there. And we're living in a great day and age where there's a lot of really cool photographers out there, thank God. And so I'd been doing weddings for a long time and people started to reach out to me who wanted to get married at City Hall. So I started doing some City Hall weddings and that actually ended pretty quickly because our City Hall may sound cool. Like it might sound like, a great kind of rom-com kind of like, but our City Hall is just, it's not that, it's a bunch of like grumpy New York bureaucrats.
Yeah.
And I did a few there and I liked the idea of City Hall. I liked the, kind of rebelliousness of it. I liked the whole like, whatever, we're just, going to get married and make it like super chill and cool. But I was like, there has to be a better way. So that's when I started to enlist officiants. And then I realized there's another level to this too. There's a lot of little details that go into this and having like a planner and just making sure that a couple is really kind of like getting in touch with what they want for this day. That's a whole role in and of itself. So Eloping is Fun is, the photography, the officiant, and the planning. So that's what I do here in New York.
Yeah, because that's what I see that's really different, Jenny, about what you offer. And that is the planning aspect of things, because you really personalize where they're going, how they're going, when they're going, what they're drinking, what they're eating.
Exactly.
It's a whole itinerary, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's so much fun. I mean, this is your wedding day. I feel like there is, my couples, of course, are opting out of a big traditional wedding for lots of reasons,
Can you, yeah, really good point, Jenny. Sorry, can we hone in
Yeah.
on that one?
Yeah.
Why do you think people are stepping away? Why do you think eloping is such a big deal now?
Well, a few different reasons. I think that I can come at this from like a few different angles. Like I said, I've been in weddings for a really long time. Like I love weddings. I love celebrations. I love everything about it. And then I've seen a lot of things happen. Like when you're doing this for like 15 years, you really get to have this bigger picture view. And I think personally that weddings they've gotten a little out of control. Like there's a lot of pressure and the budgets are really big. And it's just kind of like a natural kind of arc for
Mm.
people to start moving away from that. And then, of course, enter 2020 COVID. As we
Yes.
all know, I think that had a lot to do with like everyone's lives. I think that COVID was like one of the final pushes that just let people say, look, we can't have these big gatherings. We can't have these big weddings, like I'm ready to get married. So like,
Yes.
we're just going to do this on a smaller scale.
Yes, what can we do? Yes.
Yeah. So I think that's just like a confluence of a lot of different things happening in our culture. And, to me, like eloping represents just more freedom. You're kind of breaking free from the confines of this kind of wedding industry that's been set up that just doesn't work for everyone. I mean, it totally works for some people. I'm totally not going to yuck your yum, like if this is 100% what you want, you want that and you're going to go for it.
Yeah, I agree, Jenny. And nothing you say right now is going to convince that person who does want the big wedding.
Absolutely. But the people who never saw themselves in that position, I never saw myself doing that.
Mm.
There are a lot of those people. They just don't want to be in front of 200 people. I mean, I can understand that's like kind of overwhelming or they have some like family drama. Like they just don't want to have to deal with that. And money is always at the bottom line of everything. Weddings are expensive,
Yeah.
and it's a good decision all around for a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. Because there is that trade off. The person who wants the big wedding, they go, okay, I know it's expensive. This is what I've got to drop for it,
Yeah.
understand. But like, as you're saying, Jenny, those people who are just going, yeah, could never do that, just
Yeah.
not interested.
Yeah.
And then they meet the freaking love of their life, their reason for living. They want to get married so bad. And they're like, how do we do this and not sell out almost to what
Yeah.
we've always wanted and believed in?
Yeah. I just think right now with like our industry and just all the, amazing like entrepreneurs and, people involved in the wedding industry, I just think there's just a lot of great choices out there and a lot of great options for everybody.
Yeah.
And even I think for eloping and like for what I do, like I'm always trying to kind of think a little ahead. So, eloping, people are like, oh, eloping's like this trend. I'm like, well, first of all, eloping's not a trend. Like it's totally not. Eloping is a choice that people have been making for a very long time, will continue to make. And what that looks like also, it's not a narrow lane, I mean,
Mm.
we do elopements in New York City that are like epic, like 7 hours of photos. Like, as you said, like we really fine tune these itineraries and it's like, okay, we're going to get the best Negroni and then we're going to get pizza and we're going to go on the subway and we're going to walk over the Brooklyn Bridge because people are just like, you know what? I'm putting on this dress or I'm putting on this amazing suit. Like I'm in New York City.
Yeah, they're fucking stepping out, Jenny. And that's what I want to ask you. Like, so the massive thing about eloping is the flexibility.
Yeah.
Tell me all the things that people have done.
Oh my God. Yes. People always want to know. Of course, everyone's like, tell me like the crazy stories. And of course, I always say, because I approach Eloping Is Fun as a way to serve my couples, like I think it's really important to get to like know my couples, to understand them, who they are. Everyone is so unique and everybody wants something so unique out of the situation. And the fun thing about working with couples is like, when you're a couple, there's always some kind of like weird, quirky thing that you
Mm.
share. It's like, okay, this is like our thing. And I love when couples really embrace that and like go all in. So one of my favorite elopements, and I've had a few of these, was a donut elopement. They were really into donuts. They were like, we want to get married at a donut shop and in the morning with our friends, and we just want to be sitting around having donuts and coffee. And that's how we want to get married. And that's it. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I know the spot because my friend owns an amazing vegan donut shop. I'm like, guys, you got to hook me up. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Buy donuts for everyone that comes in. They were like, of course, Jenny, we got you. And so we did it one lovely, morning. We just sat around and got a few dozen donuts, and people who came in were like, someone's getting married over there. We had the accordion playing officiant, which I'm sure everyone who knows Eloping Is Fun knows we have the world's only accordion playing officiant.
That's wild.
Nobody better steal that shtick from us. That's ours.
And me learning accordion on the side over here. But yeah.
Well, you have to really like accordion to learn how to play
you
it.
do.
But anyway,
You do. I can't
you do.
see.
Yeah. Like, oh, I'm just going to pick this up. Like, no.
Yeah. This looks easy.
Yeah, exactly. So like donut elopement was like a perfect example of that. And they had like little donut pins made that they gave out to people. Do you know what's also fun about eloping that I kind of want to embrace more and I wish more people would do? Make it like a public thing in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because like this is New York City and something that I've been really noticing and focusing on, seeing this day through my couple's eyes is like, this is a city that just like we celebrate, and we're not afraid to just kind of be out there and be like, you look good. I mean, it's so much fun walking around with my couples in the city and everyone's like, look at you, look at those shoes. And it's just great. Like people feel so good. They get so much love. People always like, oh, if I elope and it's just us, is it going to be weird? I'm like, no, it's going to be great. And you're not going to be alone because it's New York,
Yeah, yeah. You can't be alone.
No, you're not alone. We have our secret spots, like for if you want some privacy, but like, New York is definitely going to celebrate with you. And I just like, I have a vision in my head that there's a way to like incorporate that more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because New York really wants to celebrate with you. And I think that's why a lot of people come here.
It's a life force there. I get it. I've never been, but my favorite basketball team is the Brooklyn Nets, and I'm obsessed. So
when you come to New York, I'm taking you to a Nets game, okay?
right.
We're going to drink
how
beer
good would
and
that be?
scream.
Yes. It'd be so good. Yeah, I love that aspect, Jenny. So were you saying that this couple that got married in the donut shop,
yeah,
they handed out little pins just to random people who came in?
Yes. We had a little table in the front that's
so cute.
Which is really sweet.
Yeah.
It's just such a memorable thing for everyone. And I just think it's just so cool. I mean, New York is kind of like that too. There's always like stuff going on and performance artists. Did you just see on TikTok, there was a Timothy Chalamet, is that how you say his name? A lookalike contest?
I didn't, but tell me.
I don't know. Someone just decided to do this like guerrilla, like Timothy Chalamet lookalike contest at Washington Square Park this weekend. And there was signs all over. It's like, show up. So, and it was mobbed. It was packed. And there was all these amazing Timothy Chalamet lookalikes. I hope I'm saying his name right. I just realized I've never said his name before. And then Timothy Chalamet showed up.
Shut up.
Yeah. You got to get on the internet and go check it.
Yeah. TikTok. Got to get. Yeah. So yeah, I had next as a question for you, Jenny,
Yeah.
and we're totally riding over the top of the questions.
I know, right?
But New York is just renowned for endless possibilities.
Yeah.
And so without giving away your secret sauce, your secret hidden locations, can you tell us, maybe describe just a few of them and how they work with your couple's day?
Yeah, that's a good question. I like that question. So the thing is, I've done a lot of groundwork. You know what I mean? We've done a lot of like testing the waters in a lot of places and really kind of refined, a few key locations. One is actually called the Secret Garden, although it's not super secret, but I call it the Secret Garden just because it sounds cool. I'm on the board of the garden. It's like one of these old, like Lower East Side, amazing. I have a whole article on the website about it. There's actually a really amazing, rich history of it because during the 70s, when New York City was
it was rough, right?
I was going through it. Buildings were like collapsing. And Lower East Side was a place that like just went through a lot of, transformation. And a lot of the artists who lived there would turn these lots into community gardens. Because at the core, New York City is we're a community. Do you know what I mean? Like there's so many of us. We're living on top of each other. We're a community. So the most beautiful garden in all of New York City is in the Lower East Side. And that is my secret spot. And this is the most special place that people walk through the gates and it's amazing. It's a really special spot. And I am so proud that it's like one of our spots. And I had been doing so many elopements there that when the events director retired a few years ago, they're like, you're taking over. I'm like, yeah, I'm busy. I've got kids. I'm running a bit. Like, I'm not doing that. They're like, you're taking over.
I love that you did that.
And I'm like, I guess I'm taking over. So I facilitate the gardens. It's not exclusive, but do you know what I mean? It's our special spot. Like it's our spot, but it is available if other people want to use it, during public hours. Anyway, that's one spot that I love. And there's one other spot that I want to mention. We have this place called the Artist Loft, which is in Williamsburg, which is this amazing artist. She actually calls the loft the House of Collections. Like one of my favorite installations is this giant wall of, I think like random rusted farming equipment, but like all kind of placed in this like beautiful, it's a living art sphere. And this is a place that, again, eloping is fun. We like to support, like real New York and like artists and, like everyone on our team has all these like amazing talents and side hustles and stuff like that. So, having the Artist Loft is something also that's like really special to us and really special that we get to share with people because it's just like a wild spot. Like it's just wild. You just have to look it up. It's on the website.
Yeah, I absolutely will. And I'll be sure to link your website, Jenny, to the bottom, like show notes, the description of the episode. People can jump on there, have a look and get excited.
Perfect.
Because, heck, if I had to do it again, I'd be dragging hubby to New York. And in fact, this year was our 10th wedding anniversary. And I wanted to come to New York.
Yeah.
But hubby talked me out of it.
Okay.
Because, and only because, you guys are going through election right now. And
yes, the vibe is, I agree. Election years are always a little weird. I think honestly, everyone is just like, can this year just be over? Can I just like do Thanksgiving, put up the Christmas tree? Can it just like be over? No matter what happens, I just want it to be over. So, well, you know what? It doesn't have to be 10 years to celebrate. You can celebrate anytime and you can like come to New York.
11?
No rules, right? That's what I'm all about.
Yeah. No, that sounds brilliant. That sounds brilliant. If you had a sweary, chocolate-addicted, wine-sipping fairy godmother who could help you with your wedding planning, what would you wish for? Perhaps no more waking up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat, wondering what you've forgotten, or fretting about your RSVPs. Maybe no more spreadsheets or post-it notes or endless to-do lists. Well, I can help you with all of that. Wedsites is an Australian wedding website builder, guest management software, and wedding project planner all in one. Why is this such a game changer for you? Well, imagine everything to do with your wedding being in one place, updated in real time in the cloud, shareable to anyone else that's helping you, password protected for your guests, with notifications to tell you what needs to be done next and by when. It's amazing, right? I love how easy Wedsites is to set up and use, and how there are no ads on the platform yelling at you to spend more money on your wedding. To get started on your very own free wedding website, just head to wedsites.com. That's WEDSITES.com, and enter the code UNBRIDELYPOD, that's Unbridely POD, to get 10% off their paid planning tools. The link is in the show notes. And so, I mean, you've just touched on like the next question as well there, Jenny, but, you know, helping your couples maintain sort of the intimacy and the personalization to really focus on themselves on the day, even though you're in New York, it's the city that never sleeps. So you've got that artist loft, you've got the beautiful garden.
Yeah.
To me, like, looking through your website and your Instagram account, it seems to me like you grab the couple and you don't say, what's your favorite part of New York? It's like, what's the favorite part of you, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
much more personal, internal.
Yeah.
Donuts.
Donuts. Donuts. Who
Yeah.
else wants a donut elopement? Like, I've got the spot. Let's do it.
I'm ready to go.
I know.
Everyone is so unique. So you sort of flippantly put out,
Yeah.
top shelf Negroni. Like, is that something?
I mean, absolutely. When we start working with a couple in like our planning process, which, is something that we have just tweaked and tweaked and tweaked for so many years,
How many years?
like 10, like, like 12. Yeah. Long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Been a really, really, really long time. I mean, we were one of the first people who were doing the whole photographer and officiant thing together. I mean, of course, like this, it's a good idea. Like other people do that, and that's great. But it's like, yeah, we've just been doing it for like a really long time. And it's like, I'm always like, how can I give people like just the best experience? Like, how can we pull out of them? If you just put everything else to the side, like all the pressure, all the stress, all the expectations, because that's what weddings have been associated with so much, and to just be like, okay, well, what is going to make you feel like this is the day that you're going to like go back to over and over again, like this is what we did. Like, this is how we started this like big chapter in our life. And it has to be personal. You know what I mean? And that is how I approach it. Not like, oh yeah, we're going to get these awesome photos. Of course we're going to get awesome photos, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the minimum though. Like Brooklyn Bridge, great. But
Yeah. But like, who are you? Like, what's your vibe? Like, what do you like to do? I mean, one of my big things, like one of my big trends that I'm like, all right, guys, because there's that whole like rebellious vibe of eloping. One of our packages, I think it's like our 5-hour package, comes with a free bottle of champagne or fireworks.
yeah.
And when people see that, they're like, I think I want to do that. Because the 5-hour, it's like, okay, now we're talking. Like, now we're celebrating. Now we're going to do a bunch of cool stuff.
You're really filling it with activities, aren't you? Like experiences.
Yeah, like a really fun day. I mean, it's like the coolest day. It's like such a great opportunity. And the champagne, of course, it's always like shaking it up, popping it on the street, walking around. And it's just like, that is something you are going to like go back to again and again. Do you know what I mean? To be
Yes.
like, that's what I did in New York. So that I try to empower people to just kind of like, be you, we're going to help you and support you. And that's also like our philosophy of like what a wedding should be. Even like
Yeah.
the big kind of, the big weddings, the traditional weddings, everyone's trying to go for that. Like, what are you going to do for our favors? This, that. But a lot of it gets lost in just it's a lot of work to pull these off. So, yeah.
I've got to agree. To me, Jenny, what you're doing is not planning the perfect elopement, but the perfect day of their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, like perfect wedding favors. What's the customs that you like? And, all this sort of stuff. It's not under that wedding framework. It's like, what's your perfect day? What would you drink? What would you eat? What would you listen to?
Exactly. What kind of cool things do you want to do? Like, what's special to you? I had a meeting just before I met with you, this Scottish couple who was coming to New York, and our consultation calls are supposed to be 20 minutes, but they're usually an hour just because like we get into it. I'm like,
It's a good one then, right?
yeah, because you get to know people and like this is so cool. I love connecting with the couple. So one of the things is, they mentioned they're like, well, like we have this favorite song. It's Where Is My Mind by the Pixies. And we would love for that song to be played. And I'm like, well, first of all, I love the Pixies. I just saw them this summer. They're the best.
Oh my God.
And so we just went through like all of our musicians who do the processional will like learn your song. Like we had our violinist play Hey Ma by Outkast at a wedding last summer. I'm like, legend, like cool. And so now we picked piano. So we're going to do the Pixies, Where Is My Mind on piano. They're like, I don't know. It's just like this one wish that we had. It's this dream. Like we love this song. This song just means so much. That's what they wanted. I'm like, done. Like done. Of course. Just do the fun things. I mean, I think that also like the whole thing about eloping and kind of like working with a team, where it's like all together. It's just really easy. It's like contained. It's like not all over the place and crazy. And like,
yes.
Do you know what I mean? Because it just things can even get complicated with an elopement, especially if you're coming from abroad, which a lot of my couples are from Australia. Like I started out in the beginning, like
yes,
a lot of my couples are from Australia because like Australians take those month-long vacations. Like
when you're traveling that far, Jenny, honestly, you just go, okay, let's just pull every resource to get leave
exactly.
And just go for a really decent amount of time.
New York, Miami, LA, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I love Australians. Like, we'll go to New York for 2 weeks. I'm like, yes.
Yes, you will.
There's a lot to eat in New York. You need to stay for 2 weeks, But yeah, I mean, it just like, it can get complicated and, to try and piece all these things together. But, it's nice that like we take care of all that. And it's so nice to see our couples through this whole time in their life. And they're like not stressed. Like, this is so easy. And actually like, you reach that point with couples where you're like, oh, they do have these dreams. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, like I said, once you just throw away all the garbage part of like this, you know what I mean? The stress and expectations. It's like, then you get to do something cool, So
the traditions and customs and expectations from dead people can only serve you so much. At some point, you got to live for the year that you're in. Jenny, obviously, like a lot of couples are coming from out of the US, to come across to you, as you're saying, Scotland and Australia. And
Australians are my favorite.
Why?
I will say this, like if you've listened to my podcast, like I talk about Australians all the time. I get on so well with Australians because I'm like, it's just fun. We just like talk about food and like cool things to do and shopping. And it's just like, I just love it. We love working with Australia because when they come to New York, they're just like here to have fun, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But it's true. When Australians travel halfway around the globe to go somewhere, you literally, at customs, when you pick up your bags and everything and you leave your inhibitions right there and you're a different person.
I love it.
It's so good.
I went there too. I was in Australia. I did a round the world trip in my early 20s. I did a backpacking around the world trip. And
Yes.
I was in Australia for 3 months.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It was super cool. I was in Melbourne for the longest, of course. It was like, got to Melbourne. I'm like, nah, I'm not leaving here.
Melbourne's like a little New York, I feel.
Yeah.
They've got the artistic side, the creativity. They've got the slick, dress code, all black, great coffee, important stuff.
Coffee is so amazing. Australian coffee.
Right?
Also in New York, like the Australian cafes are like we are all obsessed with.
Okay.
All the Australian cafes are like, those are the spots. Those are like the coolest cafes in New York, Australians do really good in New York,
We don't have many religions here in Australia, but I would say sport is one and coffee.
Yeah, and coffee. Yeah. I mean, if I'm reading Google reviews for a coffee place, if it says like Australian coffee, I'm like, yeah, that one.
You're like, let's go.
Let's go. Exactly.
Okay. So for all these beautiful people that you're meeting, I would imagine there are, regulations and stuff, timing issues with making sure that your elopement is legal. So, what's your best advice to couples from all over the world if they want the magic of New York City but aren't sure where to start?
Well, getting married in New York is easy. Do not get your advice from Reddit when it comes to legal stuff. I've seen people do that and come to me with some really backwards advice. We will help guide everyone through those legal things, but it's actually really easy. And your wedding here is legal as long as I should pull up I do have an official, kind of document with like all the regulations. But if you have followed the laws of your home country where, you are of age and not currently married to somebody else, your marriage is legal, so that kind of simple. Just, follow those.
Oh, how fabulous.
And yeah, you're good. There's a few countries that will need some extra paperwork, just usually if you are not an English speaking country, but all the English speaking countries, just your marriage license in New York is recognized. So it's actually pretty easy and cool. It's a great way to just, get this marriage thing done. Come to New York and do the thing.
Get it done.
I feel like sometimes like you do meet people too that are like, yeah, we've been together, like we've been engaged for 7 years. We haven't been able to figure this thing out. I'm like, yeah, you need to get this done. Like you need to get married, like stop pushing it off and making it complicated. It's going to happen, but like, I get it. Like, it's just, there's a lot of decisions to make and, but you just got to, when you're ready, you just got to do it. Go for it.
And drop you an email, a DM.
Yeah, of course, any and all. I get a lot of DMs. I'm very active on my Instagram. Like, if you comment, like I'll look you up. We'll be in touch. We'll be friends. And, DMs are great. But if you're ready to make the move, like if you're serious about this thing, then email me, okay? Because, I'm still kind of traditional in that way.
So good, Jenny. I really appreciate your time. And, you need to wrap it up and get home to your family tonight, I'm sure. But could you please share for the listener where they can find you verbally, and I'll put in the show notes as well.
Yeah, perfect. elopingisfun.com. Pretty easy to remember. And of course, Eloping is Fun on Instagram and TikTok and Pinterest. And I have a great email list. My email list is great. Like you should get on it. Even if you're not getting married, you should just be on it because it's a whole bunch of New York stuff, life stuff, relationship stuff, and like lots of funny gifts. And, it's a good one. So,
hey, just personally, Jenny, you're in the city that never sleeps. Are you the person that never sleeps?
Oh, no, I go to bed super early. I sleep a lot.
Okay.
I'm like past that. Like I'm in my 40s.
Because you just sound like you're doing so much and you've just got so much energy. And I'm like, what is this woman doing?
I have a team. I have a huge team. I have a huge supportive. There's a crew of us. I'm just like the person talking to you.
Yeah, that's great.
There are a lot of people involved in this whole thing. Like our planning, we call her the planning guru. She's full time. So the couple, like every step of the way, like last minute texts the day before, like, so that's her job. Like she's fully dedicated and committing to them. And, and we have 5 photographers and 5 officiants, and we have
Man.
weddings going on everywhere all the time. And, I get to do the fun part again and just kind of like talk to people about it. And of course, just continue the mission, the good word of eloping. Yeah.
I mean, because you're sort of the face and the voice of Eloping Is Fun, and someone who doesn't know your business really well, there's always that fear, I guess, for couples going, wow, just the one chick. Okay, what happens if she's sick? What happens if, and it's just, that fear that such a special day could be just ruined by everyday life.
Everyday life ruins a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. It just can't, it just can't with the timing and everything. But you got a whole stack of people like lining up behind you going, okay.
We have an amazing crew of people. And what's great is because, like I said in the beginning, we're a community of like artists and creatives. And, everyone has their other, I don't want to call them side hustles, but like everyone has their backgrounds in music, performance, Broadway. We're New Yorkers. We're always doing something.
Yeah.
And, and then they get to do this. And it's like the thing they love. You know what I mean? Like our officiant, Freddie, he's like a fashion publicist. He's Linda Evangelista's publicist.
Sure.
He's always traveling during like fashion week and stuff. I just love him. Like, oh my God, where are you now? What party are you at? But like, he loves writing. He loves writing. He's like a very skilled writer. That's one thing with our officiants, because all the ceremonies are totally unique. We take your story, we interview you and weave it together and just find the connections and just present it to you. And he just loves the process. He loves the writing and he loves doing it. And it's just such a nice part of everyone's life to be able to do this. You know what I mean? So, yeah, we've got a good crew. We're super lucky. I'm very lucky.
It's like a little privileged creative family.
Yeah, it totally is. Like everyone's just been connected in like different ways. There are other like elopement companies where like, if you want to work with us, email us. Like that's kind of not how it is. We are just all kind of connected in different ways from like art school, from this, from that, and we've all just been working together for, really long time, My onboarding, like if someone wants to start working with us, is like 2 years. You know what I mean?
That's great.
Yeah.
Because within unbridled suppliers, like I really don't consider that a vendor really has their head on straight until they've been doing it for 2 years. It's great that they're starting and they need experience and they need mentoring and all the things, but to really get it.
Yeah. Until you've been through some things and had to like think quick and pivot and just make it happen no matter what. Like that's a big part of our training and our ethos. Like we're going to make it happen. Cause also it's like New York. It's like, you might show up at your ceremony spot and they're filming an episode of freaking like FBI crime scene. I'm like, okay, well, you can't do it here.
Someone's got the chalk outline going on.
Get a Negroni and keep the vibe up. The good thing is like, no one else has to worry about that. We'll just like scramble and make it happen. And, it has happened where we've showed up and there's like movies being filmed. It's usually not like the worst thing to ever happen. You're like, oh, this is cool. There's Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, what a story.
Yeah.
That's so good, Jenny. I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to put your contact details in there and look up Jenny. Have a look at, even if you have already gotten married, maybe you're a wedding vendor, just suss her out because what you're doing, Jenny, is just really cool. It's just really fucking cool.
I love connecting with people. I like our community of like wedding people that like care, like really care. Like we're here to help you on this day. So this is the day that you want, no matter what it is. So I always love connecting with other people. And I'm really glad that, our paths have crossed. And I will see you in New York City. Okay. Like,
yes.
Tell hubby.
Got to do it.
Oh, hell yeah. You got to do it.
Yeah. Beautiful. Thanks so much, Jenny.
All right, darling. Have a great
Bye-bye.
day. We'll be in touch. Thanks so much.
That about wraps it up for this episode of the Unbridely podcast. For the links and resources we mentioned, please head to the show notes. And if you love the show, please review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're on now so you don't miss out on a single episode. Thanks so much for listening. And remember, weddings are a team sport. Catch you soon.